All right, guys, welcome back to another session with this curtain wall storefront editing management that we are already in the middle of. So if you missed the first video, you can go ahead and find that and watch that first if you'd like. I'd recommend doing that. This is phase two. The last one was phase one, where we're working through these different practice scenarios of editing curtain walls and different scenarios where we have to change different things based on these kind of parameters we have set up below here. So if you missed the first phase one video, go ahead and watch that. Pause this, go to that, watch that, come back to this, pause this. No. So yeah, watch that and then come back. But here we are. We're on practice scenario 3, and it's going well so far. We're killing it. We're learning so much, and just lots of mouse clicking, and it's very fun. No, it can be fun, but curtain walls can also be frustrating. So we're trying to avoid all the frustration by teaching you these great tips and tricks when you're editing these. So right now, these curtain walls, if you missed the first session, are within we have the brick wall that these are within hidden. So let's restore that with a quick shortcut key. This is the brick wall that these curtain walls are sitting within. Okay. But we don't want to show this brick wall, so we're going to hit these glasses and we're going to hide the element again. It's just easier for me to work without a brick wall in the background. It's a lot of lines, and when I'm like trying to pull dimensions or something, I suggest hiding anything that you are not working on currently. For ease of mind, it's nice. So let's see what scenario 3 has for us here. Update the height to 10'6". All right, let's do that first. And then space all horizontal and vertical grids evenly. Great. So right now we have a height of 12'6" and a width of 18. So as we talked about before, we can change the height here, we can change it with the shape handles, which I prefer actually doing it over here in the properties panel. So let's change this. What do we want? 10'6". Short-term memory loss. Over here, change that. The nice thing when you're doing that, you don't have to type 10 feet 6 inches. You can type 10 space 6, which is what I just did. Revit will understand. Can't create curtain wall mullion. The portion of the grid was placed on no longer exists. You're going to get this warning, right? When you're changing the overall extent of a curtain wall, especially when you're shrinking it. You're going to have to delete elements because this height is shrinking and we're going to lose some of these top mullions. So usually you want to delete the element and say that's okay. So I'll hit delete element as that shrinks. By hitting delete element, just make sure that we don't have duplicates. So, you can delete one mullion to see if there's anything hidden behind it. You can tab on to see if there's extra grid lines up here. So yeah, I would suggest hitting that delete when you do that. So this is great. Okay, we're at 10'6" height, 18 width. I think we want to keep that. We want to space all horizontal and vertical grids evenly. Let's do that next. So to do that, first we need to dimension them, right? So we're going to pull dimensions quickly until it snaps to the grids themselves. All right, great. Let's shift both of these up. We can just, move those up a little bit, and let's move this out so that we have room to grab these dimensions real quick. All right. So we have these dimensioned out. It looks like in the vertical grid zone, we're good. We have 3 feet on center for all of these. And in the horizontals, we're not good. We have some unique dimensions. So let's equal these out so that, and then you can click that again to see what it equaled to. It doesn't look great. If everything's overlapping like this, you obviously can drag them out. But I like to just change instead of having to drag each one. Let's just select both these and change the linear dimension style to a smaller font. 1/16 inch should be fine. All right. So yeah, we have kind of a weird dimensioning going on. 2 foot 1 and 3/16 inch. To fix that, we could bring this up to something like something better, or we could bring it down. Maybe we want to change this to 10 feet instead of 10'6" and see if that fixes anything. If we equal these out again and click it again, we're now at 2 feet even for all of these grid lines, which is great. So let's keep it at 10 and let's change this to 10.0. Okay, so we're updating the height to 10.0. This is just a sample project, so it's not a big deal. I just would rather have these evenly spaced at a good whole number. So there we go. Next step is going to be, let's see, set up an ABABABA vertical pattern using 2.5 by 6 inch mullions for the A, and for the B, 1 inch by 1 inch muntins on the B, or the evens. So that AB is just in reference to, A, B grid, A grid, B grid, right? Like a pattern and every other type thing. So for the first one, the A is going to be the 2.5 by 6 inch mullion. So starting on the left here. And then we're going to go to muntins, which are just, applied muntins on the glass. So if you don't know the difference between a mullion and a muntin, muntins would just be applied on top of the glass instead of mullions, which are, fully through the glass, and then the glass is, between them. Whereas muntins are just applied on, the outside exterior of the glass or the interior of the glass or both sides of the glass, but not going through the glass. So that's just what that means with muntins. So let's do this. First step is going to be, since these 2.5 by 6 inch mullions on the A's, which is what we already have, and let's check the color real quick. All mullions and metal panel are to be green. Okay, so let's change that to, let's change all these to green first. Since we have the same mullion type on all of these, we can just select one mullion, right click and go to select mullions on host, and change all, make sure they're unpinned, right? And change all these to 2.5 by 6 inch green. All right. So now all the verticals and the horizontal mullions are 2.5 by 6, but we still need to edit this and fix the B section. So to do that, we're gonna select, right, just to reference, the A's are fine on this first vertical. We just need to change these now. So we're going to select one of these, select mullions on vertical grid now. Whoops, that wasn't what we wanted. Right click, select mullions on grid line. Sorry, that selected all the vertical mullions, which we don't want. So we have all these selected now, and we're going to right click. And sorry, we're not going to right click. We're going to go over here and select 1 inch by 1 inch rectangular mullion for that, which we've already created. So that's a 1 inch by 1 inch mullion, right? Which is just sorry, it's a muntin really. They're kind of interchangeable, but they're not. When you right click, you only get mullions for all these, so it doesn't specify, but they are muntins since they're being applied in our case. So they're not the right color, so we need to fix that. So we're going to select all these again on grid line. We're going to go over here into edit type, and we're going to rename this to say charcoal, because that's the color this one currently is. Naming is important. Make sure you name things accurately. It's just easier to find things later on. So we're going to then duplicate that and go to 1 inch by 1 inch green. Okay, so we've duplicated that. We just now need to change the material itself from a charcoal color to a metal aluminum green color and hit OK. So that's already set up for us, right? You see the color over here. If it's not set up, you can change the color or the transparency or whatever you'd like, but it's all set up, so we're good to go. So we now have this rectangular mullion, 1 inch by 1 inch green. Great. So we need to do this for these other ones real quick. Let's do that. Let's select that, right click, select mullions. I always do that. Mullions on grid line. Let's select these two. Oh, forgot to shift select. Select mullions on grid line. Shift select mullions on, whoops, mullions on grid line. So we've selected those because we're going A, B, A, B, A, B, A, right? Okay, let's change those now. Make sure they're unlocked, unpinned. and 1 inch by 1 inch green mullion. Okay, we now have that AB pattern on this little curtain wall. It's looking great. We now need to make sure all horizontal mullions are 2.5 by 6 inch, which we've already done, right? We did that at the beginning when we changed these. So we're good on the horizontals. We also need to, what's the next step here? Eliminate the middle panel except for the bottom row. To do that, we can't just hit delete, right? We need to change it to a specific panel. So we'll click 1 on this top row. We will right click and select panels across horizontal grid. And then we will make sure they're unpinned and go here, select glazed vision glass for that. Easy enough. Lastly, all mullions and metal panels need to be green, right? Here we go. So let's make these bottom metal panels a green metal panel. Since it's the type, we're going to have to find that type, right? So select panels along horizontal grid, go up here. We already have a metal panel green created. We don't need to create that. And let's escape out of that. Great. Okay, I think we've done everything. Spaced all horizontally, set up. So these are all spaced, all horizontal mullions, eliminate metal panel except for the bottom row. We have the metal panel in the bottom row. All mullions and metal panels to be green. Okay, so we are good. Let's move on to scenario 4. Scenario 4 is probably the most advanced one. Let's see what we got going on. So we want to keep the height and width, great. All inner mullions to be 1 inch by 1 inch muntins. Okay, so if we want to change the inner mullions, we can select one of the inner mullions, right click and go select mullions. Scroll down to mullions on host. Actually, nope, sorry. Select mullions, inner mullions right here, inner mullions. We're selecting all the inners, unpinning them and changing them to what was it, 1 inch by 1 inch muntins, which are going to be black. All right, we don't have a black created, so we're going to do charcoal for now. We're going to edit the type. We're going to duplicate that. We're going to change that text to say black. We're going to hit OK. We're going to scroll down the material, right? We're going to change that material to metal aluminum black, which we've already created that material. Check to make sure the color is actually black and it's a solid fill. Hit OK a couple times and see what we got. All right, we got some black muntins on here. 1 inch by 1 inch black muntins, okay? Next, remove the double door and continue the mullions in its place. So we're just continuing that pattern in its place. All right, so we will, to delete this, we can't just select and delete it. We need to change the actual door to something else. So we select the door and go up here and select, let's change it to the same glazing that we are using. Okay, so we've changed that to a glazing panel, one large panel, but the next step is, continue mullions in its place. So we need to continue this vertical mullion system down. We do that by, we can either, well, first we need to see how there's a grid there, but it's not actually, it's a dashed line, right? Showing that the grid is not active in that location. So we need to add the grid there. So we're gonna select the grid with the grid selector. We're gonna go add segments and select here. And here, wherever there wasn't a segment. So that sometimes will populate some interesting things. We can go ahead and change this back to a glazed vision. And we now have, by seeing that thin line, that's a good sign. It means the vertical grid is active there. And now we can copy, create similar and copy that grid or those mullions down on that grid. Same thing on the horizontals, right? So let's do that. Create similar. We can't because the grid's not there. So we'll add segments to the grid. We're going to have to do that for all these grids. Kind of time consuming, right? But it's just the way it is. The nice thing is once you have this set up once, you can copy it on different projects. So, curtain walls are weird. See how I just added those grid lines and now it's populating some random doors, right? So you can select those two doors, make sure they're unpinned, and go back to the vision glass. So curtain walls do that kind of thing, and that's fine. You just get used to it and you edit it as needed. Let's see what else we got. So we're not done. I just want to look at all mullions and middle panels to be black. I forget all these steps. Center the vertical mullion to also be 2.5 by 7.5 mullion. All border mullions to be 2.5 by 7.5. Everything's black. Okay. So we're going 2.5 by 7.5 mullion size on this. So to select all the border mullions, you can tab into one, right click, select mullions, and select border mullions. And we can update those, unpin them, and make sure they're a black. Of course, we don't have a black. We have a charcoal for the 2.5 by 7.5. So we'll click that. We're going to have to edit the type of this too. Duplicate. Change this text to say black. So a lot of repetition here. Black. Okay. And okay. All right, we now have a 2.5 by 7.5 black mullion for the borders. We have a gap here, so we need to add that in. We could do this, create similar along the horizontal there at the bottom. We also want to, add these mullions across, right? So one fast way to do that is just create similar, hold the control button, and looks like Revit automatically recognized what we were trying to do there. All right. So we have removed the double door and continued the mullions in its place. We've added all inner mullions to be 1 inch by 1 inch mullions. We've made all the border mullions 2.5 by 7.5. We have not done this step. Everything's black, which is great, except for the metal panels, which we need to update. And first we need to add a center vertical mullion to be 2.5 by 7.5 on. So that's this center mullion, right? Well, let's tab onto that grid line if it'll let us. And sometimes Revit likes to be weird. So the problem I'm having is because this is so black, I can't see what's going on, or when I have the grid selected. Wow. And one little trick, if you can't tab on to the grid line, it's actually because you need to be on the edge of a mullion to tab onto a grid line, which is very strange. But that's just the way Revit works. So now I have the grid line tabbed, finally. And we actually don't need to move the grid line. We just need to change these mullions on it. So let's actually tab a mullion itself, select that, right click, select mullions on grid line, change this to the one we just created, 2.5 by 7.5 black, which just means that this is one panel, right? And this is one panel because these are 1 inch mullions applied on top of the glass. This one is center mullion is actually splitting the glass. All right, let's finish this. Add a clear story of glazing on the top horizontal band. So that's just this. Let's add a clear story here. Select the panels on horizontal grid, unpin them, make them clear vision glass. Let's select these panels here. Right now they're green. We need to select on the horizontal grid, change them to black. Of course, we don't have a black panel created yet, so we need to do that. Let's duplicate it. Black. Okay, we're almost there, guys. We're getting there. Black. Okay, okay. And we forgot to select all the others, so we'll just create similar and select these as well. Wow. Of course. All right. I don't suggest doing this dark because you can't distinguish between mullions and panels. I should have thought of that before and done like a dark gray, which is kind of what we had, but just wanted to go black on this one. So let's finish out the kind of kick plate down here. So let's select one, select panels on horizontal grid, change these to black as well, metal panel. But yeah, again, I don't suggest doing this because it's hard to distinguish between the panels and the mullions themselves. All right, we've added the clear story. We have that center mullion. We have, I think we've got everything here. Yeah, we're good to go. Keep the height and the width, and we're good. So this is done. This one's done. We've deleted the door. It looks way different now. And then this one we got done earlier. Sorry guys, one last thing we almost forgot to do was, and I apologize that we didn't do it right away, but looking back at scenario 2, just to be consistent, you want to make sure that all of your mullion joints are consistent. So if you're going with the vertical continuous, you want to keep that continuous throughout. If you're going with like the horizontal continuous, then you want to keep that continuous throughout. A lot of times the vertical is continuous. So I just noticed this and I kind of skipped over it because I was going fast in the tutorial and moved on to the next one. But for instance, right here, there's a small error. We want to toggle mullion join these so that the vertical joint is continuous here, just like all the others. And same thing, so that one, we now have continuous verticals. So that was just a small change, right? It looks like the verticals are continuous. And it's not a huge deal in the long scheme of things, but it's something you want to get right the first time. So same thing with scenario 3 here, which we just did. So we have some inconsistencies, right? Because we don't want these muntins, which are the 1 inch by 1 inches. We just want those on the glass themselves. We don't want them protruding into the 2.5 by 6 inch mullions at all, or into the metal panel either. So we're actually going to delete these on the metal panel first. So we'll grab those, select the mullions across on the horizontal grid, sorry, select the mullions across the grid line. You know what, let's just select them individually because we only want to delete these muntins here. So we're going to select those 3, unpin them, and delete them. It's okay to have that line there. However, you know, for modeling purposes, if you want to be exact, you can remove that segment. It kind of depends on how exact you're being with these curtain walls. But you can quickly remove that extra line there just to be cleaner, right? So we removed that, took the muntin off the metal panel, which it probably would just be on the glass, right? And then we're just going to shift these up with a toggle. So this is just final cleanup stuff that is important to get right. You know, you don't want anything that doesn't look right and then getting a question later about it, like an RFI or something. So we're just toggling these to not be, so that these muntins are only applied to the glass themselves and not overlapping the horizontals, the other horizontal mullions here. So it's a little time consuming to get it right, but that is more accurate now. Apologies for not getting that right off the bat. You know, it's sometimes you miss things when you're doing a tutorial or a lesson. So again, guys, we're gonna look at this one. It looks fine. It's all black, so it's not as visible, and the muntins kind of connect here at the crosses, and then, you know, we don't want them to overlap, which they're not overlapping the larger mullions. So I think we're good here. Plus you can't really see what's going on with the black. Again, don't suggest doing black in the future, or full black at least, because you can't really see the difference between the mullions and the curtain panel or the metal panel. So this looks right. We have the verticals continuing all the way, the large verticals, and then all the muntins are applied right on the glass themselves and not overlapping. the horizontals, which is what we want. So this is a lot cleaner. Just takes a second look to clean things up sometimes, and that's what we just did. So that looks great and a lot cleaner. And anyway, if you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and submit those below. I'll try to get to them when I can. And yeah, if you yeah, have a great day, a great evening, and see you next time.